We've just wrapped up two of the busiest periods of the year, Valentine's Day and International Women's Day. And if you were left feeling overwhelmed, perhaps burnt out, early mornings, late nights, or there simply wasn't the demand that you were hoping, you're not alone. I've had all of those in the past. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what's worked for us and what hasn't over the years, so you can replicate our success and avoid stress next year. I'm confident that by putting into practice these 3 easy steps, anybody can smash any peak period coming their way. And with Mother's Day just around the corner, it's the perfect time to learn. I'm Max. I run a busy London flower shop, Petals at Bibendum. This year, we processed a record number of orders for Valentine's Day. We also made a record amount of profit, and I'm very grateful that we've learned and put into practice these steps which I'm about to share with you. The difference really is night and day. Imagine going into a peak period, knowing exactly the product collection you're going to sell, how many of each product you forecast selling, how many team members you need to make all of those orders up and process them all out as well, and how much profit you forecast making. You'd be confident going into any peak period that you're going to make a profit with a plan in place. So the first key lesson is pre-planning, and we break that down into products, marketing, and staff. The reason we break it down in that order as well is you begin by thinking about your products. What I've done, and I would recommend you doing as well, is creating a document. This will be your planning document, which includes all 3 of the areas we're talking about. The first, and the reason you begin with products, is you want to start thinking about what product collection are you going to sell? What products are popular with your customers and what products are popular around that season? For example, for Valentine's Day, we all know, whether you like it or not, 99% of people go with red roses, so you must have lots of products with red roses. Once you've decided on your product collection, you begin thinking about marketing. What marketing channels do you follow? I remember in the past, I used to completely wing it, put random posts out on social media and not really have any other marketing strategies, just hope people would turn up at the shop. I mean, sometimes it would work, but it's not really the best strategy to follow to make a consistent profit. So what we do now, and what I recommend you doing, is looking at multiple different marketing channels. One that I'll share an insight into is email marketing. With an email list of only 500 people, we've managed to set up, over Valentine's and International Women's Day, an email campaign which would send out 5 to 8 emails within the 3 weeks running up to the event. Personally, when Rojesh is our website builder here, personally, when Rojesh recommended to me this email flow and the amount of emails, I thought we were going to be overloading our customers and subscribers, and I really thought that's too many emails. But actually, the first 4 to 5 emails don't bring in any revenue. They serve to create the buzz around the event and solidify your brand as the go-to brand for that event within all of your readers' minds. And it's worked, it's proved successful. I'll pop up some stats here, but we, as I say, for the first 4 or 5 emails we send, we don't get any sales in. But then for the last 3 emails in the week running up to the event and on the day, you watch the orders rolling in. And that's thanks to Rojesh. That's thanks to this marketing strategy we have on our email channel. Building up an email subscriber list is something I recommend every flower shop does. And that's just one of the marketing channels. Yet then you want to think about social media. Where are your customers? Thinking about going to where your customers are located. What content do they like to consume? And setting up a content calendar so everybody in your team can see all of the content that's going to come out in the run-up to the event and give feedback and make changes if needed. As I say, you have products that you begin with, then marketing, and then the third area that you plan and think about in pre-planning is your staff, your team. You can use your marketing to consider how many of each products you're going to sell. That then tells you how many flowers you need to order to make up the products. Once you have that information, you're able to think about how many team members do I need over what time period. As I said, I would recommend creating a pre-planning document. This document will have all of your planning information about stock, marketing, and staff all in one place, and make that available for all of your team to give feedback and make changes on as well. So that's the first key lesson, is pre-planning. So the second key lesson is around customer engagement and feedback. So there's really 4 drivers behind somebody buying from your brand. It's either they like to fix a problem, they're buying from a reputable brand, they're buying based off of reviews, or they're buying based off of a recommendation. So if we drill down into each of those, if you're buying because it fixes a solution, let me show you an example here. Gentleman here wants to pull up at the shop very quickly, get out of his vehicle, choose a bouquet, and check out and leave. You can see his body language as he stood at the checkout. It's almost like he's ready to leave before he's paid. So these kind of customers, the solution fixes their problem. The second kind of customer will buy because it's a reputable brand. For example, you need a phone, you like Apple, so you go and buy an iPhone. The third reason somebody buys is based off of recommendation. So you will only buy a product or a service based off of a family or a close friend's recommendation. Yes, I can vouch for this product or service. And then the fourth reason is reviews. So some people will only buy or go to a restaurant, for example, based off of online reviews. So the 4 areas you have there again are fixes a problem, reputable brand, reviews, or recommendation. Once you've identified those 4 different types of buyers, thought about your customers, where they sit in there mainly, you think about how each one of them buys and engages with your brand as well. It leads me on to the second subdivision of customer engagement and feedback, which is how to engage. So we've created what's called a customer engagement log. What this piece of paper or form does is it enables us to track our customer interactions. What we do after we've served the customer is we identify under which 4 of the categories do they fall. Then we ask ourselves 3 questions. What worked well? What didn't work so well? And even better if. You can summarize that as WWE. What worked well? What didn't work so well? Even better if. Once you've asked yourselves those 3 questions and you've made a log of interactions, it really helps you think about what is working well, what isn't working so well, and even better if, and then you can make changes, put new things into place, and take out elements of the process that didn't work so well. The third subdivision of customer engagement and feedback is a feedback form. So we've created a form which you can directly give to customers that are perhaps more engaged with your brand and willing to spend a bit more time giving you feedback. So that's not the kind of customer I just showed you the example of, but that would be somebody who doesn't mind spending time speaking to you when they come into the shop, spend a lot of time interacting with the brand. And what this does is it enables you to get direct feedback from the horse's mouth. The feedback form and the engagement log can be combined together to make a real powerhouse of what changes and improvements you need to make in your customer journey. The third and final lesson, probably my favorite to be honest, because I love data, is called AIA. That stands for Analyze, Interpret, and Action. And what I mean by that is every business, if you haven't already, should identify a set of KPIs, that's key performance indicators. These are numbers, pieces of data which indicate whether you're doing well or not. And you start by analyzing those KPIs. So you set up within your team an understanding under each KPI of a level that means if you're doing well or not. The way that you interpret that data, the way that we do it, is setting up a simple traffic light system. Green would mean that piece of data you're doing excellently on. Yellow would mean you're on track, but it needs some focus to make sure you stay on track. And red means you're completely off track. Focus on me right now. So you analyze your data, you interpret what it's telling you. For example, if your sales are down compared to where you need to be, that would then lead you to take action based on marketing. What can we do to make sure that our sales recover to where we need them to be? So you analyze your data, you interpret what it's telling you, and you take action based off of your understanding of the data. And really, AIA is something that we do in our business weekly, whether it's a peak period or not. I have every Monday an AIA meeting with the key stakeholders in the team. But this is a tool that will really help accelerate your peak period. You should be analyzing, interpreting, and taking action based off your data regularly throughout. These tools will take you to calm, in control, and profitable. I'm really confident of that. I've also created a blueprint, which is a document. You're able to download it for free from the link below. That can be used as a document you can reference at any peak period, print it out, save it, do what you like with it. I've also added 11 attachments, which include my KPI dashboard, my feedback form, my engagement log, my planning template, all available to download via the link below. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. And if you'd like to see some more behind the scenes at a live peak period, follow me on Instagram at Max Cansdale, and you can see behind the scenes Mother's Day coming up